Hi, I'm Tom Morrison, and today I'm spending 5 minutes with Assistant Professor of Marketing at the University of Windsor, Vincent Georgie. So Vincent, you had the opportunity to go to the Academy Awards recently. What were your reasons for attending the ceremony?
My reasons are twofold. One is because my research agenda has always been the marketing of the film industry, and that's my sort of bag of tricks. And the other is being marketing director of the Windsor International Film Festival, building some relationships out there and working on a few projects. I've consulted out in Santa Monica in the past, and that sort of opened the doors to being involved in that community, and then shepherd things into sort of covering and being around the Academy Awards, which has been an amazing opportunity.
And what did you get out of this experience?
What I've been able to get out of it is certainly, as I say, sort of banging the drum for some of the research that we're doing at the University of Windsor, and I was able to bring one of my students with me this year, which was great, who's interested in researching film, and also promoting the Windsor Film Festival itself, building some connections there, also seeing the industry really in its full raw glory, if you will, really in a very, very tangible way. So that makes things certainly very interesting in how real things are and how chaotic they can be at times as well.
So how does someone get to go to the Oscars?
Yeah, it's not an easy question to ask. It sort of ends up coming with invitation and knowing people and sort of just being sort of part of that community. It's not a, you don't apply and you don't get the invitation in the mail per se. It's sort of an evolving process, and I was first approached 3 years ago, having already again tried to establish myself in that community, and then yeah, it sort of evolved that way, which has been pretty terrific.
So you had the opportunity to talk to a variety of people in the film industry.
I did.
Who was the most interesting person you encountered?
I would say the most interesting person I encountered, oh geez, that's a tough question. The most interesting person I encountered, I certainly did enjoy talking to a director named Craig Zobel and his star Ann Dowd. He made, and she was in a film called Compliance that was at this year's WIF. It's currently on DVD. It's a great film. And it's interesting talking to him because he was talking about how often enough when his film was being screened, he'd have audiences that would walk out and protest the film, and then other audiences that would love the film. I was one of the people that actually loved the film. That was very interesting talking to a director that's had such mixed reactions to his film and really sort of coping with that. It was an interesting conversation. I enjoyed that.
What was the experience like on the red carpet?
It's really interesting stuff. I mean, I wrote a piece in Windsor Star last weekend where my concern overall with the red carpet is I think it's lovely, I think it's fine, and people enjoy that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The problem is that when things become all about the red carpet and not about anything else, we lose sight of things. What I really found, actually, to be frank, galling, is the amount of people around me that really had no real sense of who these nominees were, what their background was, what their films were even about. They really could only talk about excitement or talk about clothing and that. I found that to be a little bit silly. And what I also found difficult was so many nominees that were being sort of paraded through that were not the most famous were being bypassed and made to feel not wanted on the red carpet. I thought that was a problem, I think. And on the flip side, I had a great advantage being there in that I recognized people and I knew people. So I was able to actually meet and get interviews with a lot of people much easier because I actually knew who they were.
You also attended the Independent Spirit Awards.
Yeah.
How is that ceremony different?
That ceremony is quite different. That goes on the day before the Academy Awards. That's held in Santa Monica. Much more casual affair, there's no question. I mean, it's in a big white tent on the beach, so it's totally different. That awards show celebrates independent films, so films made for under 20 million. You've got films there that were literally made for $100,000, so and then up to about 20 million. So much more different vibe, much more casual. But then again, the situation with you've got a lot of coverage going on, but of people who don't know actually the nominees. But I enjoyed that very much, and it's interesting to see because the studio system has changed so much, films that are deemed independent today, 20 years ago, would have been actually studio films. Like at the Indie Spirit Awards this year, Silver Linings Playbook and Moonrise Kingdom were nominated. Those relatively could have been studio films 10, 15 years ago, but because studios are now only in the business of franchises, and publicly so, it's not rumor anymore, this is really what they're going to make. Anything that's not that ends up becoming an indie. So it makes indie film, and what's something I like about that is it makes independent film actually that much more accessible with much more recognizable talent, and then new talent to discover as well.
So when selecting the films for the film festival, how aware of the award potential are you of these films?
We're always conscious of it for sure, because what it does is it builds the Windsor audience as an opinion leader. Okay, it was great that this year at the Academy Awards, films that were seen at WIF got 13 Oscar nominations, and at the Spirit Awards they had 13 nominations as well. So it builds the Windsor audience as saying, hey, I've already seen that, I'm aware of that. So we definitely do keep an eye on that. We certainly are not going to pick a film that we don't feel is strong, even though we think it could get some awards. We'll always pick the merit of the film first. But it's great to see films that have a little bit of awards potential, because it gets people sort of excited about it. And again, months later, as they get awards traction, it's like, oh, hey, wait a minute, I've already seen that.
All right, I'm Tom Morrison, and we just spent 5 minutes with Assistant Professor of Marketing at the University of Windsor, Vincent Georgie.